Welcome, fight fans, to the Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast. Your Fight Talk Authority. Not to mention the most entertaining and talked about podcast with your kick-ass host, Richard Ortiz.
You mad? Come at me, bro.
And his loyal kick-ass co-host, Senor Cole Escovedo. Streaming live and worldwide. Coming to you all the way live from a little place somewhere in Cali. The Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast.
Hey, Rich Ortiz here with the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. We're simply knocking out the competition. I got my co-host with the most, the UFC veteran himself, Mr. Cole Escovedo. What's happening, Cole?
What's going on, Mr. Ortiz? How's life on the inside?
You know what? Life is good, man. Life is what you make it. We woke up this morning, so you know what? Hey, we have a life. You know, a lot of people don't have a life, or they have a life, but they don't got control of their life. But you know what we do, Cole? We've talked about being under contract. We talked about taking the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass Podcast to that next level. But if we were under contract as we speak, they would have shut us down already. But you know what? We own the business. We own the trademark. We own the Fighter's Voice, and allows us to bring guests like Mr. Matt Smith, who is an 8-degree black belt, who is a gym owner, or should I say a sensei. He's making it happen. But you know what? I'm going to let you give him the proper introduction, man, because I was hearing that you guys were in the same dojo together, cracking heads. You know what? When I posted him today, I was going to put all the above there, or I could have just put, hey, another bad mother. You know what I'm saying? And that's welcome to the show, Matt. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna go back for a second and say I have known Cole since he was, I want to say 7 years old.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a minute.
Hey, Cole, I didn't know your dad was on the show. Come on, bud.
No, yeah, Matt's known me since since American Academy of Martial Arts days back over in the Barnyard Shopping Center.
Yeah.
That's where my journey. Yeah.
And your dad would bring you in, and then he'd stand outside on the sidewalk and watch through the window.
Yeah, that ended up being a problem one time, didn't it? It
did. Your dad, you know, to say your dad had a short fuse, that
was an understatement.
Yeah. So if he thought someone was mean mugging him, he was guaranteed to set them straight.
Meanwhile, this is mid-90s. This is mid-90s. So it's not like today. It was like mid-90s. So it was like,
it wasn't mid-90s. It was
like early 90s.
Early 90s.
Yeah, it was early 90s. So it was still like kind of Wild West. It was fun.
Like 90.
Well, Cole, there's where you get it from, my man.
That's exactly who I get it from. That's 100% who I get it from is him.
So, man, let me ask you that. You knowing that his dad had a short fuse and Cole was a student, did you see any of that same gene trait walk into the dojo?
Oh, I definitely saw some of Cole's dad in him. But I'll be honest, Cole is a little more under control than his dad.
Yes, he is.
And man, I've seen Cole grow up so much, because when he was young, you know, like all of us, we're not mature. We don't make good decisions always, and we think we know everything, but we don't. And man, the things that I've seen Cole do with his life, I just have a ton of respect for, and I have a lot of love in my heart for Cole. I always have.
Well, you know what? From my time knowing with Cole, I can see that he has a soft heart, but I can also see he still has that bad motherfucker in him, because I've seen that look before. I've dealt with that stuff before the show starts, but it's all good. I respect that. But you know what? Those of you guys that are just now tuning in right now, hey, Matt, why don't you tell the viewers, the fans, the followers a little bit about yourself and how you got started in MMA?
Okay, so I'll go through my history sort of as quick as I can. I started martial arts in 1974. It was actually part of my curriculum at my school. I went to a small private school. So in first grade, we were doing karate.
And this is Fresno, California.
No, I lived in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And then later in my career, I moved to South Florida, and I was doing Okinawan karate down there in Miami. And then I moved out to California, moved out to San Luis Obispo. I was training in San Luis Obispo until about 89. In 89 is when I moved to Fresno. I was already a black belt at the time, and I started doing, so I was a black belt in karate already. I started doing judo at Fresno State with Mr. Imamura. I started doing eskrima, which is Filipino stick and knife work with Ramiro Estalilla, who actually is still alive and still teaches here in Fresno. But he started training in 1941 when the Japanese invaded the Philippines. So I got
biology days.
Yeah. So I got a, good education from him. I remember thinking, who is this little Mr. Miyagi looking,
Yeah.
And that guy could move sticks and knives like you couldn't believe. And you're like, I want no part of that little old guy. And so I really, it's not like I did everything all at once. I sort of, I started in karate, and then I added judo and added eskrima and added taekwondo, and sort of just never quit, which is how I ended up being an 8th degree in karate, an 8th degree in eskrima, a 4th degree in taekwondo, 3rd degree in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, brown belt in judo, modern Army combatives program instructor. So I just really never quit. And
Cole, this is a bad motherfucker, huh?
Right? It's a laundry list, man.
Yeah, damn, dude, your resume. And plus you got a master's, right?
I have a master's in education, and I have a bachelor's in psychology. Yeah. So, I sort of was already, even before MMA, and I remember watching UFC 1, because I was already doing karate and judo. And one of the things that I found, like when I was doing karate, was when I would spar with just pure karate guys, I'd foot sweep them or I'd throw them. And it's like they had no idea what I was doing, and all of a sudden they're on the ground. And so they would stop kicking because they were afraid to get thrown. And it was like an unfair advantage, because now they're not kicking.
They weren't well-rounded like you were.
Right. They weren't well-rounded. So I don't want to say I was doing MMA before there was MMA, but
I was about to say that. Hey, you gave birth right then and there.
I sort of was. And so when we saw UFC 1, I remember watching it. I was like, that is awesome. But I knew what they were doing. Like when Hoist would do an armbar, I knew what that was, because judo has the same mat work that jiu-jitsu does. It's just not their emphasis. Jiu-jitsu has some of the same throws that judo does. It's just not their emphasis. So like my instructor, Dave Camarillo, likes to say they're two sides of a coin. Like a quarter has a heads and a tails, so when you start combining stuff and looking at it like that, like two sides of the same coin, it becomes really powerful. I had another teacher tell me one time, the boundaries between martial arts are artificial and man-made. So when people say, oh, well, but I do whatever it is that they do, they're putting their own restrictions and their own boundaries on what they're doing. And
they're limiting themselves.
Yeah. And what MMA has done is just sort of gotten rid of those boundaries. It's just said, well, let's do whatever you want to do within the rules. And I think that's what makes MMA really powerful.
Let me ask you this real quick, Matt, if you don't mind me interrupting. When you were reflecting back to the first UFC, the first, the second one, what fight stood out besides Hoist Gracie? What fighters? Because you had guys with different gizmos, one glove, one guy with his hand tied, and what stood out with you?
Well, you had some weird matchups, like the Keith Hackney. I
like Keith Hackney. Yeah, I mean, he started with those hammers.
Yeah, and the reason he started doing that was his hand got broken in the middle of the match.
That's right. Yeah.
And so he just adapted to that. And I'll tell you right now, in the real, in the real world, that can happen really easily. Someone moves their head just wrong and you're punching, really easy to break your knuckles. And so while he wasn't well-rounded at the time, he showed a lot of grit in that, oh, I just broke my hand. I need to overcome that. Now I'm
he was actually one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah.
He would always do this, kind of move around. Yeah. Oh, right on. Salute, brother. Salute, brother.
Was this just everybody's drinking on their isolation? Is this what happens?
Come on,
I don't have to drive anywhere.
That's a damn good point. You won't be. I'm gonna be on the news walking like butt naked drunk down the street in the middle of the afternoon. They'll be like, "What happened?" I'll be all, day drinking happened.
I can see that happen too, Cole.
No. I'm gonna get fat and way out of shape, and that's gonna be about it.
So let's see, Keith Hackney. Oleg Tikhtarov was not one of the very. It wasn't in one, but he was
early
3. And I actually trained with Oleg. That dude is a tough mofo. He is really amazing, and his leg locks are insane.
Well, he's got that Sambo background, so
yeah,
right, yeah.
He's the one. He used to roommate with Ken Shamrock, correct?
I don't think he ever roommated with Ken Shamrock. When he first came here to the U.S., he lived in Galt, and he would drive down to L.A. and take acting lessons.
Yeah, because he did a great job in some of the movies. Yeah.
He was in 15 Minutes.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Trying to think what else he was in, but he's been in several movies.
Yeah, he just pops up randomly in a movie now and then.
He does.
He has that look, man.
He's always the bad Russian guy. But he used to drive down to LA, and on his trip down, he would stop here in Fresno and he would train with Dan and Dave Camarillo because they lived here in Fresno.
Over at State.
Helped me start Pacific martial arts. So like 6 a.m, we would be down at the dojo getting our asses beat by Oleg Tikhtarov right around UFC 3 time. So he was really the first UFC fighter that I trained with at all. And man, that guy was just ridiculously tough.
I remember asking, I asked Ken Shamrock a question one time. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Cole. And because Ken Shamrock was getting ready to fight him, they ended up fighting. Mm-hmm. And I said, do you think he'll tap? And he said, no, he won't tap. Even though he's getting ready to get something, he goes, no, he won't tap. He goes, it's not in his DNA. He goes, that man will not tap.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he pop his knee back in one time? Like mid-fight, like his knee got popped out and he just like smacked it back in, like legit, like movie crap stuff. So the guy's not human. So I would venture into that area.
I've watched him do that. That's a true story.
Yeah. Okay. See, so it's the dude's a Terminator. I'm telling you.
Yeah. He has those eyes too, man.
Yeah.
That different look.
When you said Dave and Dan were kind of part of what kind of lit your direction as far as opening a school stuff. When did you finally decide you wanted to get involved as far as teaching martial arts as opposed to just like training with the Imomuras, training with Tikhtarov when he's in town, doing all your personal training for your self-education? What made you decide you were going to take it and actually start transitioning?
So I started teaching when I was in college. I was just teaching at other people's dojos, and which is how, when I met Cole, it's sort of how I was paying my way through college. Was I was teaching at other people's dojos, and in '96 I wanted to open my own karate school, and I asked Dan, I said, hey, let's do karate and we'll have a judo class. And Dan goes, no, bro, we need to do jiu-jitsu. And so that's how the jiu-jitsu sort of started in July of '96. And we'd already been training with Oleg. I think Oleg came down in December of '95, and that's when he started training with us. And we were training in Dan Camarillo's garage on these the dirtiest canvas mats that you ever laid eyes on. I mean, nowadays, knowing what I know about staph and ringworm,
You could have said hell no.
I wouldn't do it. But back then, we just thought, they're mats, and
you could land on them.
You could land on them, yeah. So that's when we started training with Oleg, and then July of '96 is when we opened up Pacific Martial Arts, and we only had a couple mats back then, and Cole probably remembers this. Everywhere else,
it was like a little squared off section.
It was a little square, and everywhere else in the dojo was just like glue down indoor outdoor carpet. So and we'd do throws on that. We'd spar,
takedown, throws, sweeps.
Where are you guys located at? In Clovis?
At the time or now?
Now.
Right now, I have 5 locations, and we'll see how this economy shakes out to see how many I have at the end of it. But I have one in Selma, one at Blackstone and Shaw, one at First and Herndon, one at Shaw and Sunnyside, and one on the Fig Garden Loop. So that's 5.
Oh wow.
My headquarters is at First and Herndon. I have a really nice space in there. It's about 5,000 square feet, and
nice.
I'm inside of a Fit Republic, so
have you ever thought of doing anything with like equipping some of the police officers?
I do. I have a lot of law enforcement officers that train with us. I've actually gone. There's a facility just outside of Fresno that a lot of law enforcement departments use, and I've gone out there and trained U.S. Marshals and some other departments. And then we've worked with Dave works with some military groups up in the Bay Area
frequently,
and so I've gotten to work with those guys on a regular basis, which is a whole different world. I mean, you take MMA and then you start adding in weapons and other human beings. So it
changes the dynamics a little bit.
It changes the dynamics, yeah. Sometimes you think you're being cool and you're doing really good, and then someone pulls out a sidearm and you get a simunition to the side of the head. It's interesting.
More than just props. Hey, you talked about you made reference to that you had 5 places in this area, and you said, well, let's see what happens after this is going on. Let's talk about this virus that's going on. How you adapted, and how is your team held together?
Well, adapting. In fact, just before we did this, I did a Zoom class. And I've been uploading and emailing content to people. So we've been filming content. We have been using content for jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of content online, maybe a little less for some of the other disciplines, but basically trying to feed our students content to work on, trying to put together workouts. Zoom, in our industry, I've just been on a couple webinars about this exact topic. So our industry is almost changed overnight to where we're utilizing Zoom, utilizing YouTube and other types of video services, FaceTiming students, calling students, hey, how are you doing? How's your weight? All that sort of stuff. Yeah. So we have to get really personal
Creative.
to help the student. Yeah, we have to get creative to help the students move forward. The one thing is the students that really want to move forward, even with through all of this adversity, even if they can't go to the gym, they can still move forward. It's just a matter of how much do they want to move forward. You know, there's people that are like, if I took a pro fighter, sometimes we're all guilty of this. We go through phases where we're really good at excuses, and we go through phases where we're really good at following through and making stuff happen.
Yeah, commitment to changing, efforts committed to change.
So
Adapting.
in this thing, if students are committed to improving their life and improving their fitness, improving their skills, they can still do it. And what I found is the instructors genuinely want to help students. So we're all willing to go above and beyond and do Zoom classes, do FaceTime, do video.
With the Zoom classes and the encouragement to practice at home and stuff, do you find it's hard to combat like the improper muscle memory that some students might build by building repetition at home over, say, a couple days, and then they say, "Hey, Sensei, how's my technique?" And you're like, "Ugh."
Right. I actually I had thought about that when we first started doing Zoom classes, because I was like, man, I can't teach because I'm not going to be able to grab the foot and pull it this way and fix all of that. And again, it comes down to being creative. So for example, what I did today in my class, I'm thinking about it like this. Instead of giving them big, long combos to work on or something, and having them develop bad muscle memory, what I'm doing is having them do exercises with me that, for example, a squat. Like Cole, you know all about the side kick. So those same muscles from a squat are the same muscles that develop a side kick. So I'm having them strengthen the muscles that they're going to use in a particular technique. And then I just guide them down the road of developing that one technique, so that when we do get back in the gym, I come back in the gym and their Legos are perfect Legos, and then we can build.
Yeah. Now that makes sense. You're building a good base of physically in shape, and body is used to the motions and stuff, but you're not following through with specific techniques. So there's no bad muscle memory to build. You're just building the motion kind of, so then you can start adding the kick and the technique to it when you come back.
Right. If they're strong and flexible in the right ways, then it's easy to coach them different stuff. If they develop bad muscle memory, then it makes my job 100 times harder when we get back to the gym, because I have to untrain that bad technique first and then retrain in the good technique. So I've been, talking to my students about, we're going to get a lot more fundamental. It's because some of them are all by themselves. They don't have a partner to work with. Some of them do. Some of them have brother and sister or someone that they can work with, but not everyone does.
That's familiar. Yeah. A lot of people are on the solo path.
And so, other things people can do, they can always do road work. They can do, how important is road work? How important are
conditioning all day?
Speaking of lungs, Cole, do you remember when we had that fight up in Colorado?
Oh, dude, was it Colorado? You said it was Colorado.
It was Colorado, yeah.
The Christian Allen fight.
It wasn't at Colorado Springs.
Yeah, it was. We ended up fighting at like the Colorado like rodeo arena or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, they had mats and horse stalls set in the back, Rich. That was the warm up area. It was like horse stalls with like fold out mats. They were like, okay, there you go, dude.
The bar fighting right there.
The day before the fight, we were ordering pizza and Pepsi, and we couldn't stop laughing. We were just watching TV, sitting by the pool eating pizza, thinking, well, dude, should I be eating all this crap right now? And we were like, dude, who cares?
We were so giddy. Like we had
ridiculous. We'd never been there.
We had no time to acclimate to the altitude, and we were just, every little thing was funny. it was Cole got the win, but it was
that was rough. After the first round, I was like, dude, I can't breathe. I've got the DVD, bro. It's awesome because I can
You gotta check that out.
I can look at the DVD, and this is back then. You gotta remember, this is only like what, fight number 3 or 4 or something.
Yeah.
This is still really fresh for Matt, and you can see his face where his advice was just, bro, you just gotta knock him out. Like you could see it on his face, like the face.
You just gotta breathe.
No, dude, he was just like, that was his game plan. Was like, bro, you just gotta knock him out. And I was just like, okay, I can't breathe. He was like, you gotta knock him out quick. So it was, we got a little, I think we got a little lucky on that one. I think we ended up breaking his nose.
You did.
We were like grappling around, and like you can see the motion of the wheels in my head go, oh, that's right, you can punch still even though we're on the ground. And I just jabbed him really hard, and you hear this real loud snap.
I thought it was he fell back for an ankle lock, and you hammer fisted him right on the bridge.
Oh, maybe that was it. Yeah, because he just started gushing, and then that was it. It was the fight was pretty much done at that point. But man, I was so tired.
Was that? I mean, the air was that bad. Was the air that bad?
Well, we got flown out the day before weigh-ins.
The day before weigh-ins, yeah.
Yeah, so we, like I said, no time to acclimate it. By the time your body starts adjusting, it was fight time, and your body's just like, oh hell no.
Yeah, it was bad. We should have taken some time to acclimate. We didn't.
But back then, it didn't matter. Yeah, back then we didn't know better. Like it was just, oh hey, we'll fly you out the day before weigh-ins, and you're like, okay, cool, I can train at home the whole time. No, I would have been like, no, fly me out the week ahead of time.
There you go. Hey, speaking of not knowing better, man, I was going to talk about the Tony Ferguson challenge, but enough with that. Cole, I mean, here's my thing, and here's my take, and I'm going to change it up. I'm going to talk about the fight with Tony Ferguson and Khabib, man. I'm just not a fan.
I called it.
I'm just not a fan of that. Yes, you did call it. Why are you going to go down to Russia when you know damn well, just say you don't want to fight? I don't want to hear about this. Conor McGregor don't deserve a shot. It doesn't matter. You don't get to make that decision on who gets the shot or not. You're supposed to be the champion and fight at all comers. So
but I think what happened was they
went out to the left.
Nah, they made an educated guess at that point. Okay, let's say, put yourself in Khabib's shoes. You have probably one of the tougher fights coming up of your career. You're looking at coming up on 30-0. You got a lot at stake. You're not about to have the best training camp. You're about to have a very disorganized, disoriented, lackluster to the best of everyone's ability at the same time while trying not to get sick. So do you really want to take one of the tougher fights of your career, which I don't think Ferguson is that dangerous to him, but he's a dangerous opponent. Would you want to go in there with a half-ass camp, or would you want a full camp?
Well, I don't think anybody wants to do that, but you got to make adjustments. Is Tony Ferguson going to get the best camp ever?
No.
I mean, he's over there making these Tony Ferguson challenges, and I was going to talk to you about that when you talked about bad muscle memory, because these guys that are mimicking the challenge, oh my gosh. One guy, he even ate some pizza, and then he starts hitting the heavy bag. I don't know if you saw any of these challenges that are out there.
I haven't seen any of these.
Oh yes, they're quite eventful.
No, I mean, I always thought one of them was gonna get hurt.
No,
but
you called it.
We all knew this fight wasn't, dude. This fight alone is cursed. This is God saying this fight's not supposed to happen. Every single time they try to schedule this fight, something happens, and we were so close to having this fight this time that God was just like, whoa, you guys it's almost April. No, something's got to happen. No one's hurt. You know what? I got it. And he did it. No, I think it was probably a little bit of, it wasn't the best scenario for Khabib. The camp decided it wasn't the most advantageous scenario for him. Even though Ferguson would be having the same problems, it still matters to Khabib's camp that we want to have as much advantage as possible, and we require a good camp to have those advantages against Ferguson's perceived weaknesses. So I don't think he's scared. I don't think he's running. I think it was stupid to go back to Russia unless he was, I mean, let me put it this way. If he's in Russia, it's because he got a phone call and somebody said, you need to come home. End of story. Like, you need to be back on Russian soil. We're going to close our borders. You need to be back in or you're not getting in. And he was like, I'm going home.
I can honestly see that happening.
Yeah.
Because of family.
I can see that.
their attempt to like self quarantine themselves is, we're closing our borders. You ain't getting in or out. Fuck it. You're not going in. You're not coming out. So he had like a real time sensitive decision to make. And he was probably told it could be no different than if like the government knew some huge meteor was going to hit the planet. Certain people would know first. Certain people would get told, come back to the country or whatever. We're going to lock down our borders in case our part of this world survives. We want to be on lockdown or protective order or whatever. So certain people will get those phone calls. Khabib was probably one of them, because you got to remember, like what people don't remember, like Fedor Emelianenko, he was hanging out with like high-level politicians during a lot of his contracts in Japan, a lot of his Bushido, a lot of his Dream, a lot of his Pride fights. All those, the whole time, he had like a lot of tight political connections, and a lot of people felt there was a lot of negative continuity in that. Khabib's in the same realm. Like, he hangs out with like pretty much the same guys. So there's going to be a lot of political influence in those decisions too, where, hey, this isn't the best scenario. We'd rather you not fight than lose. Just come on home, and that's what we're going to say happened.
Well, that's what Connor said, that he was connected. But anyways, that was just his allegation during that time. Matt, when you hear that, and a lot of people are saying now that Khabib should be stripped, how do you feel about that? I mean, it's not his fault. But he knew what he was doing, but it's not his fault.
Yes. I don't know that he should be stripped, but I think there should be a point where, you know,
Dana, you should know better.
Yeah. Okay. But here's the deal. Yes. This one, or you will be. Yes. Right.
And yeah, that I could say is when everything gets settled back down and a date gets picked, you either fight on that date or you're going to lose the bout. That I could get behind, but to strip him right now would be it's a lot of goofy shit going on right now. So
it's not going to happen. He's not going to be stripped.
He's such a marquee fighter.
No.
Well, that's what I think is. I think right now would be the wrong time. Even if circumstances were a little more solid, right now is not the right time to strip someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
definitely not.
Speaking of stripping somebody, Cole, what's up with your boy Jones, man?
Dude,
I mean, he can't even go to McDonald's and order like a number 13 supersize it without something happening, without the fries coming back drunk, or the Pepsi spilling on the governor, or just something, man. I mean, the guy can't even take a drive anywhere.
At this point, though, you got Jones. You got so much money, dude. You could have just had somebody drive you.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know. I want to hear the whole story. I want to see if there's a video that he releases or a statement he makes, something that at least explains his side and his level of responsibility and everything that happened in a little more detail. But I don't know, dude. DWI with a discharge of a firearm, that's like,
bro, as if to say, this tells you about him. We're not partying anymore around here, so we say. So he's going to go somewhere where you can still party. You know what I mean? Because it's just in him. It ain't like they were saying you can't train here, so he's going to go find a place in Mexico to go train. Right? Yeah. But, you know, it is what it is. That's Jones. That'll always be a story. But at the end of the day, he's still a bad dude, man.
He is a bad dude.
But the thing is, though, between his last two fights,
yes, it's cozy.
And the outside and the outside ring antics,
it's catching up.
Not even catching up, is his fan base is just going to take a big dip, because people are going to be like, yeah, you're not that good anymore. You've almost lost your last two, and you're doing dumb shit outside the ring. Like, why should we support you? Like, at that point, even his real fans are going to go, I don't know, dude. Like, you're making it hard. Like, even I was kind of turning around just because he had been doing well.
You know what, Matt,
up on that guy, dude.
Matt, I want your take on this. I'm going to make a comment right now, Matt, and let me know if you agree. I think Jones should just move to California and kick back with the freaking Diaz brothers, bro, in Stockton, and say, let's just all get high, let's just all drive fast, and let's just all be us. I'm being sarcastic, by the way.
It's about there. It's about there.
Pretty close.
I don't know, because, you know, here's the thing: the Diaz brothers, they, you know, they have a sketchy reputation, but they also do some stuff for their community that you know, sort of allows you to overlook some of their personal shortcomings. Jones, I just don't see that same thing from him.
Especially with the level of what his so when you look at the Diaz brothers, they're getting in trouble for smoking weed and popping dirty for fights because of weed and stuff. You look at Jones, when he gets in trouble, it's because he slammed his car into a pregnant chick and fled the scene, but then came back for drugs and crap. So I mean
yeah,
he's
it's not the same.
just fucking up. He's just fucking up. It's unfortunate. Like, it sucks. The guy was in such a gifted position. You know, any fighter at that level is in a gifted position, but he was in a really very unique position to do some real good in a leadership role. And he just kind of, dropped the ball, man.
Well, and I think Cole brings up a good point about the leadership role. You know, I look at the Diaz brothers, and they may make some choices I wouldn't make, but they do a lot of stuff in their community that I really have a ton of respect for. And they're still entertaining fighters.
They are.
Win or lose, they're entertaining.
I'm a fan of theirs, just to let you know.
Yeah. So
no, I mean they bring it. You know what? They bring excitement. That they sell tickets, and you know they're very well conditioned. I don't know how the weed helps them, but it doesn't stop them, because they continue to move forward and you know, be themselves.
I'll be honest. I don't, you know, popping a fighter for performance enhancing drugs, I'm okay with that. Weed, I don't know. You know, it just doesn't seem like it's going to help.
Let them do all of it.
Fight. So why should why should we care about someone smoking weed in a camp before they fight? I just don't see that.
Let them do all of it. Don't punish them for any of it, man.
Let's just let them party all they want. Huh?
So
if they smoke, or if they want to, okay, what's the real negative of them testing dirty for metabolites and performance enhancing drugs in their system from their training camp and stuff? What is the real con to that?
No, there's probably not a big deal, but here's why it is what it is. You got to remember, when you have MMA and it's finally you got a sanctioning body, you got a governing body, it's finally legal. They have rules in place. You have to create rules. You got to come up with rules. They may BS, but you got to have rules in place.
I agree,
and that's what it is.
Rules can be changed. We see that in sports all the time.
It does happen. I mean, yes. I mean, look at the NFL. They want to go with more playoff teams. They want to give them one extra game, but not pay them for that extra game. I mean, these guys get paid a lot of money, man.
They want to extend the season.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, wouldn't you have to rewrite everyone's contract to include that extended game and the new breakdown of what the guaranteed percentages would be?
Exactly. But who benefits from that? The owners, right? The owners, the one that makes it happen. The owners, the Dana Whites, etc. And you know they're in charge of all that.
Machine.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. It's tough. I can go back and forth with you, Cole, all day, and I agree with you on some of that stuff. Now I'm even starting to lean towards you, like, hey, man, if it's not going to explode your heart, let them both freaking come juiced up, and that's what the fans want.
Right. Yeah, I actually agree with that. The thing is with the performance enhancing drugs is some of it, you know, if you allow it to just be unregulated, then you have someone with real health issues, and later on they're saying, well, the UFC encouraged this, or my trainers encourage this, and you end up with big lawsuits.
Well, okay, hold on. Well, to counter that point, how often do you see that scenario play out that way in boxing, when you see some guy with a pre-existing brain aneurysm of some kind who lies to the doctors, gets doctored MRIs to get in, and the sanctioning body, they're the ones that signed off in that boxing fight. He ends up taking a blow and dies. No one ends up getting sued because they're like, oh, he hit it. It's not our fault. So in theory, wouldn't the UFC still be in the same realm of, well, if he didn't tell us and he didn't tell our doctors, we can't force them to divulge everything, you know? Same kind of gray area, no?
Yeah,
I agree with you there, Cole.
You know, the one time I've seen someone die in a combat sport, was that exact situation. It was a Taekwondo tournament, the U.S. Open black belt division, and it was France against. It was a French Olympic team member against a Chinese team member, and the French team member had a concussion in training 2 weeks prior to the event, and his trainer didn't tell anyone, which he should have been suspended because it's governed by the International Olympic Committee, the Taekwondo, what is it, UST, or I don't remember their governing body, but he didn't let anyone know. He got kicked in the head and he fell down like like a sack, and he was dead. That was it. The only time I've seen someone die in a combat sport, but he did have a pre-existing condition that his trainer hid.
Well, you can say that it was overlooked, or you can say, hey, I got my own personal doctor. Nevertheless, hey, Matt, I hate to cut you off, man, but I got to ask you this in 2 minutes. Tell us, how can we follow you? How can we get to your gym? And I know stuff's up in the air right now, but if you got a new person that wants to come to your gym, where do they get a hold of you?
Okay. So they can follow us on Facebook, Pacific Martial Arts, Instagram. They can email me at fresnopma@gmail.com. And, we have some virtual training. People could literally, if someone called me today, I would get them going already on virtual training. And then when the gym's open, we'd just be a leg up. They'd be in shape. And that's the funny thing. People call me all the time and say, oh, I want to do jiu-jitsu, or I want to do MMA, I want to do boxing, but I want to get in shape first. So now is the perfect time to do that. Get in shape at home, so when you hit the gym, everyone else is out of shape and you're good to go. But Facebook, Pacific Martial Arts, email fresnopma@gmail.com, Instagram. We have a website, which is fresnopma.com. So any of those, you can get a hold of me.
Sounds good, my man. What do you got for Matt, Cole?
Well, that's about it, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and join us today and share some of those fun stories. I really wanted everyone listening to get an idea of how long you've actually been involved with martial arts in the Valley. And actually what a lot of people didn't know was how involved in just Valley martial arts you were, given the time frame that it started, what started when, like your connection with the Fresno Judo Club, Mr. Imamura, the Camarillo brothers, looking at where they are now, looking at the people they've trained with and who they've grown up, through the sport with, and just how you've grown martial arts as a brand to where it was teaching in one school when I met you, to moving to another school, to opening your own, to expanding out to another one. And the whole time it was just, what a lot of people didn't know is all of his motives were student based. Like every move he made, every decision he made, every change to the program he made, every line in the sand he drew as far as what he felt the curriculum should cover was all for the benefit of the students. If it weren't for decisions like Matt making certain decisions that he made along the way, I probably would have never started jiu-jitsu. When we made those choices to separate schools over wanting to do jiu-jitsu and not wanting to let them do jiu-jitsu, and a difference of opinion and stuff, that led to a lot of us going down a road that we would not have gone down otherwise. Guys like me, guys like Greg Asbury, look at where Asbury's at now. Asbury's like one of the top black belts in the Valley. So it's like, to know where these guys have been and to see where they've gone, it's really due to decisions that Matt made back in like the late 80s, early 90s, when things were still new. So I just wanted to give an opportunity for him to come on and tell those stories. So thank you for sharing those stories with us and really giving us and the viewers an idea of where martial arts really started in the Valley and how things really grew to where we see them today. You've got like 5 spots that you're part of now?
Yeah.
Like 5. Teaching at one. So,
yep.
But thanks for that, man. That's what I wanted. We wanted you to come on and share those stories like that so people can have a better understanding.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt, I do want to throw this invitation out there. As soon as we kick this virus in the ass, man, we got to do you just justice, and you got to come down to the Fighter's Voice studio, man. In
Oh, I'd love
person,
to do
and
that.
kick all this down, and we got to go take a whole hour, man, because I want to hear the rest of your stories. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, Cole's
I've done
been
a lot of them.
yeah, Cole's been letting me know, hey, Rich, this guy got stories for days. He's one of the pioneers, and he's well known, and he continues to have the same passion and drive that he had from day one. So appreciate you coming on the Fighter's Voice, my man.
Thank you.
Right on, bro. Oh, there you are.
All right, Matt.
Appreciate
See you,
that.
man.
Yes, sir.
Cheers.
Yes,
Stay safe.
yes. Stay on, Cole. See you, Matt.
See it. How do I log out of this?
So then we
Oh,
got
man.
next. We got
Hey.
Mr. Combate himself, right?
Yes, there he is right there. Kind of like a foggy screen. Yeah,
Hey.
exactly. He just slides
How-
right in.
How
Slides right in.
KP? How are you producing this from a remote location? KP. Yeah. Okay. How do you produce it though? Like the way you would from since you're not. Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass podcast. We continue to go. With us, we have the Vice President of Combate Americas, Mr. Mike AFROMOWITZ, joins us here on the Fighter's Voice Kick-Ass podcast. Hey, how we doing, Mike?
Okay. How you doing? How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, man. We're making it happen. Cole, how you feeling now, man?
Good so far. I've had, I mean, usual stress and cabin fever and stuff, but other than that, nothing too crazy. Sun's out. I've got a big enough neighborhood that I can still walk around and not have to worry about running into anyone or anything like that. And I can kind of avoid people and still get out in the sun and stretch my legs and stuff. Go for like a run, like in the morning. I could easily go for a couple-mile run and not run into a single person. So it's fun. I'm fortunate.
There you go, man. It's like, being on your own planet sometimes. Hey, Mike, I appreciate you taking time, man. What was that, Cole?
It's kind of like, it's kind of getting there. You go out early enough.
It is. Mike, let's jump right into it, man. How have you been adapting to this virus? And some people are taking it lightly. Some people are taking it more serious. Some people, are overreacting. But at the end of the day, life goes on. And for some of the businesses, man, they're at a standstill. But they've been able to reinvent themselves. How have you been doing with this whole virus?
I'm trying to stay sane, keep my sanity. I mean, whoever's taking it lightly at this point needs a reality check and really needs to take it more seriously. Based on the news that's coming out, and if they weren't taking it seriously before, they need to right away, like yesterday. So it's really bad. It's great. It's weird too. I mean, I was just there 3 weeks ago with you guys in Fresno, and I think the story broke during that week that the first case had hit, stateside in Sacramento, I think it was, or somewhere in California. And at the time, I didn't think it was really. I still didn't think it was really gonna, amount to anything, widespread. And I was wrong.
I don't think anybody did really.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was definitely wrong, obviously. But even, when we announced, I think the following Monday, that we were going to halt the next 3 events that we announced, I was surprised because I thought it was a little bit, at first I thought maybe we were jumping the gun. I still did. Maybe I didn't want to believe that it was really going to explode. But, man, our chairman knew what he was doing, and he had the foresight to really do what we needed to do. I guess that's why he is who he is. And and then all of a sudden, like, all events just started canceling one after the other after we announced, what we were doing. I mean, a lot had canceled before. A lot of non-MMA events had canceled before, but then we announced.
what do you think about the indoor only, no audience type approach that the UFC took with the Brazil event?
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's something that is sane or crazy to try to repeat?
No, I think that's the only, now I don't know how anybody could do it, but if it becomes an option at some point soon, hopefully sooner than later, I would say you have to do it. I mean, that's the way to go. Hopefully things get better, sooner than later.
Sooner than later, yeah.
Yeah, and then before people start gathering in public, I mean, if you can do that, I mean, we're going to do it if we can.
Mike, that's in the MMA world. And Cole ESCOVEDO, man, he called it. He said, don't be surprised if they cancel that fight. To my knowledge, here's where it started for me. If they canceled that fight in China with Jose Ramirez. 2 days later, it was canceled. And then it started to snowball all the way down, the snowball effect. It's not just hitting MMA. It's just not hitting the human beings. It's hitting the whole world. But, it needs to be taken serious. When I say people that are not taking it serious, it's because you got these guys posting videos of licking poles, still interacting, still partying, still wanting to go to the beach. And it's people like that do not take it serious that alarms the whole world. What's your take on all that when you see that happening still? Yeah, I got you here, Mike.
I'm back. Yeah. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, I'll make it short. A lot of people that are not taking it serious, what's your advice to them that need to take it serious? Because they're overlooking it. They're thinking everything's fine and dandy. They're still going to the beaches and still partying out in public.
Stay indoors, number one. I mean, any of those people could be a carrier that has, that has the virus, but they're not feeling it. And that means that they can infect somebody else. And, as many people as, as are around them, they could affect. So they need to, if they need to take it seriously. I mean, you could be a carrier. You could, you could wind up contracting it from somebody else. So get indoors, stay indoors, and if everybody stays indoors, the slower, it'll stop spreading, and hopefully it'll start, things will clear up quicker.
Have you prepared yourself as far as going to the stores, getting your water, getting your personal paper, getting your food and everything? Have you hit any roadblocks whenever just going to the store on an everyday basis?
We stocked up, and somebody a few days ago was nice enough to bring us some more stuff, and so we're pretty stocked up.
Cole, how you doing? How you adapting to that, man? I never got a chance to ask you. I know you've you've asked me a couple of times, hey, what do you know that's open, or what do you know that's anybody selling water? Because I've hit my roadblocks. I've been to stores and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, everything's cleared out, and then I've been able to be blessed and get a couple of things that I need.
I would say about the week and a half, 2 weeks ago, when everyone lost their shit and started panic buying things for no reason, absolutely no reason.
Yeah.
That that effect caused the ripple effect of everybody else not being able to get their stuff, and it just caused a panic. So, like with everybody at that point, I was a little concerned. I kind of had some supplies. I just kind of went and got supplies as I could over. But now it's kind of slowed down. Like, you go into a store when you need to, and there's things there. Like, if you needed to go and stock up on meats for like a week or something, or pasta and meats and rice, and find your toilet paper, find your paper towels, your cleaning supplies, things like that. Like, it's a lot easier to find them now, I'm finding. But again, I just try to limit my trips to when I absolutely have to anyway. So it's been interesting. I'm not used to being inside all day, every day, all day. So like I said, when it's nice and sunny out, the ability to walk in my neighborhood without running into other people is, it's nice. I can actually go outside and get some sun without having to worry about being, exposing myself unnecessarily or anything like that. So it's sane preserving, I guess.
No, I mean, you're making, living day by day, so to speak, and doing what you need to do. Mike, when have you received that phone call, or when have you called the powers that be and said, hey guys, let's put a plan B in place? Or have you even considered that? Or are you just kind of taking it day by day?
Plan B as far as like going forward?
Yeah,
or,
going
you know,
forward with the company, you know, possibly entertaining. Hey, let's do it without a crowd, or hey, you know what, let's put everything on hold. Let's contact all our fighters and let them know, hey, we're supporting them. We'll be moving forward as soon as, you know, as soon as the governor or the president says, hey, let's start to move forward.
we talk every day. Like Campbell and I spoke twice earlier today. Actually got a call earlier with an offer to re-air previous fights, repackaged fights on Televisa in Mexico. So that was good. You know, we've been talking about it daily, and really right now there's nothing to do. But the plan is to, in fact, if we can, and if everything, you know, permits, we will do the closed set studio shows. But it's kind of like every day is a new day. It's day by day, and really, you know, right now we don't see an end really, or have a definitive timeline for it. I mean, I would hope by, you know, by July we could do it. But I really wanted to do it sooner, but obviously we can't control, you know, what happens. So I hope no later than July.
You don't mind me asking, how have your conversations been with some of the fighters that have texted you or inboxed you or emailed you and said, hey, what are we going to do? Are you just there just to listen to them and because they need to vent, so to speak, and just say, hey, everything's going to be fine. You're still one of our fighters that we're going to invest in. We're still going to headline you, so to speak. Those kind of conversations.
I mean, I think right now they're more concerned for, you know, their safety, their family's safety, than more so than anything else, because it's really starting to hit home. I mean, a couple people close to me got the virus. I mean, I could, you know, I was shocked when I learned. So I'm sure they have, you know, similar situations like that. And you know, it's really getting close to home. In my case, kind of it hit home. So, you know, it's I think really everybody's more concerned about the health and safety of them and their, you know, their families, loved ones, more so than they are about, you know, their next fight. So when it gets to that, though, you know, I can only hope it gets to that, you know, where we have a kind of a plan with a moving target as far as the, you know, return date. So you know, we'll address it.
On the plus side, because we're always trying to find a plus side, because I don't want it all to be about negative. The plus side for me, myself, and I'm sure a lot of you will concur, is just the time spent with your family, the time spent with loved ones, as if to say, hey, when's the last time we sat down and watched a movie together? When's the last time we've embraced each other and said, hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you talking to you today, because tomorrow's not promised.
Right. I mean, yeah, it you know, you feel like, you know, you realize that sometime it could be at any point in the day, you know, that, you know, you realize you're lucky to have those people around you. So that definitely happens.
Cole, I know I've asked you before, man, but what are the plus sides to this, Cole? Because you always turn you always make a negative into a positive. So what are the plus sides for you, Cole, in your family, in your personal life?
You know, I've had the opportunity to kind of reestablish what is important as far as like home education, really looking at the things that, you know, working on your basic math with the kids, being stuck around teenagers all the time. I thought that was bad before. Man, being stuck with teenagers this whole time is just, it is a challenge, but no, and you really get to test your creativity skills. You get to realize that, hey, if you think about it, if you're like my age, like I'm 38, I'm gonna be 39 this year. A lot of us grew up in the 80s, early 90s. The internet didn't exist yet. There wasn't, there was this thing called imagination that we had to deal with. So it helps remind you that you don't need tablets, you don't need iPhones, you don't need TVs, you don't need all these other extremities of entertainment stuff, to where when you really sit down, like you said, we've been playing categories, we've been playing Sorry, we've been playing, you know, board games and puzzles and books and reading. We're still doing the schoolwork and just trying to keep as much of a continuity, so to speak. So it's, you know, it's a challenge. It'll challenge your creativity and patience. Being stuck in the same house with anybody for a prolonged period of time, like you were saying, Rich, you know, being appreciative of your family, this and that. Yes, but you got to remember separation is also key too. Like going to work, having that 6 to 8 hours of separation from the people that you spend day in, day out with. You know, and to those people that have that feeling, if you're able, go outside for an hour. You know what I mean? Even if it's like, well, it's boring, there's nothing to do. Well, yeah, go outside, read a book, go sit in the car. You know, if you can go for a walk and there's not people around, go for a walk, get away from the scenario. You know, I can only imagine the type of boiler pressure relationships that were existing before that are just going to go nuclear now, given the amount of time they got to live with. So I think adaptation and empathy is going to be a really big positive that people take away from this whole thing. Is they're going to learn to look from the other person's perspective, because the reality of it is they won't have a choice but to do it that way in order for the quarantine style lifestyle to keep everybody sane and from, you know, going totally bonkers on everyone. Is you're going to have to be more empathetic, and you're going to walk away from this scenario with that skill now of being more empathetic, so that when you go and deal with life and conflicts and things, you'll probably have a better resolution of that conflict. Whereas before it might have ended negatively, you know, now you'll have a positive outcome because you've built this wealth of empathy. So I don't know. That's the only, you know, I try not to look at things when they're a negative, not a negative right out the gate. I always try to look at it as the scenario as it is, and not assign it a positive or a negative, and just try to look at how it can be a positive first. And if there's no way it can be a positive, then in essence, it's a negative scenario, and you have to deal with it accordingly. But you can deal with it in a positive, progressive mindset to just try to approach that, you know? Try not to look at a scenario and go, oh, that's a good or a bad scenario. Look at it, the scenario, for just what it is, and then decide after you've looked at the solutions to the scenario, is this a bad or a positive scenario? You know, if you assign it as a negative scenario right away, you're going to look at it with a negative approach, and you're like, oh, I can't do this. No, fuck that. It's a scenario. Look at it, break it down. How can you accomplish it, and do it positively?
Well, sometimes you got to dissect it. It's part of life. Mike, besides MMA, and I know family's very important to you, what do you miss the most? And when this is all over and we're all clear, what's the first thing you're going to do, my man?
You know, I'll tell you, just go out to be around people. I mean, anywhere. It's like the things we take for granted. It's like be able to go to a movie theater, or just any, like a mall, or anywhere, just anywhere, a strip mall, just to be, the smallest thing, just to be around
people. I mean, do you go get coffee? You're a Starbucks guy, or what have you been? What have you are you used to doing and you just can't do it now?
Yeah.
And that's the public, right?
Yeah. I'm going grocery shopping. I can't go to Whole Foods. I like going to Whole Foods. I like going to Starbucks. I like going, to the simplest things. You just can't do them. I mean, I thought it was until earlier today when before I spoke with my friend over in Manhattan. I thought it was tough for all of us. This guy, he and his family aren't even able to leave their condo. They can't leave, so they haven't been outdoors in 2 weeks. They haven't been outdoors, so they're holed up in this. And I don't know if if you spend time in Manhattan, places are small. So 2 adults, 2 children, and they can't leave their building. They can't even leave their unit. So they have not been outdoors. Yes.
That is rough. That's very rough.
When I hear that, it's like, at least I can go outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? And at least we can still, and I'm not trying to say this, and a lot of people think, well, wow, you're really going to go there. I'm just so blessed that we have this platform, rain or shine, that we're able to release, if you want to call it venting or just interacting, that we have this technology in front of us, and we're able to use it and talk about things like that. And, now that I know your friends or the people that I mean, I'm going to put them in my prayers this evening as soon as I get off the show, because being, I want to say, trapped for your safety, I mean, that has to be rough. For 2 days is rough, but for 2 weeks, man, my prayers go out to them.
It's going to be, I mean, it's going to be 2 months more at least. Like, so he's going to be in that place for the next 2 months, not able to go outside. If he goes outside, he gets sick.
So when you're sitting back, man, say 6 o'clock p.m. Your time, you're about to relax. I mean, what fight do you go to the archives? Because I know you're a fight fan, or is it a golf tournament? Is it a race car driving that you like to watch? What are you repeating on? What is it that you go to and say, okay, I'm going to watch this over again?
I mean, if it's a fight, you know, I'll tell you, not to sound like shameless self-promotion, but you know, you have Pluto TV, and we have a channel, a 24/7 channel on Pluto TV that's running fights all day, all night. If it's not fights, you know, I'll watch Shark Tank or reruns of Shark Tank or reruns of Chicago PD. Those are shows I like. But you know, fight content is, you know, it's YouTube, Pluto TV. You can get, you know, there's plenty of good stuff on there. We've got some old fight, you know, our most recent fights are up there.
No, that's good. Hey, Cole, besides porn, what do you like to watch over and over again?
You know, honestly, I have been binge watching from the start. The Simpsons has been the go-to show lately. Has been The Simpsons. I've been trying to find some other ones, and they're just, dude. Okay, real quick, I'm gonna do all of our viewers a favor. Do not pay for that stupid Birds of Prey movie. Holy shit, that movie was trash. That movie was garbage. That movie was. It struck me as one of those movies that was made because they owed the actor a movie on their contract. And the studio had to produce a movie using them because they were no longer going to pursue, say, that direction of the DC universe, but they still owed said actor a contract for those types of movies. So what do? Give them their own movie. Dude, that movie was not the actors. The actors are fine. That's not the problem. It's just, it was poorly written. There was loopholes and plot holes you can drive a truck through. It was just, they tried to tie in the DC Suicide Squad universe, but it didn't matter because it wasn't going anywhere. It was just bad, bro. It was just bad all the way around.
Mike, let me know.
Critic.
Exactly. Mike, let me know if you agree with me or not. Didn't he just now promote that movie? People want to see it now. They want to see why it's so bad now.
Unfortunately.
I think he trashed it so bad that it actually wasn't. I mean, he did a number on it, so I would say he'd be promoting it. He was really
bad.
Yeah. No, he did a number on it. I don't want to see it.
I really want to give a positive review of that movie because I watched Onward. We got Onward on Amazon.
Send me the link, man. Send me the link. Send Mike the link, man. We'll let you know if it's trash or if it's, hey, I can't wait till part 2, man.
I don't think
all I know is I need to get my Fire Stick updated. That's what I need. So if you can update a Fire Stick or you know how, walk me through it. I need to update my Fire Stick because that's where everything's at. You watch anything on Fire Stick. Like, I don't even need Amazon or none of that crap. I just need a Fire Stick to work.
Mike, you got a Fire Stick?
Is it the same as Roku?
It could be. We get all that
Roku's a program you're going to find on a jailbroken Fire Stick. So that's just legal, totally legal.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Michael's like, hey, Cole, Michael's. I never heard of it, man. Never heard of it.
Roku. I have Roku.
Plausible deniability.
Roku, hey, you can actually stream the Pluto fights, the Pluto TV channels on there on Roku.
Hey, basically, Mike's saying, look, if you're gonna do some illegal shit, go to Pluto TV, man. Watch Combate America.
No, Pluto's legal. Pluto's legal.
Okay, well, I mean, whatever stick,
watch
legal or illegal helps you get it in high def, man.
I'm promoting Pluto more than I am anything else. That's no, it's a great app. It's got our channel. It's great. You'll like it.
You know what you should do, Mike, is you should get all your main Combate signed fighters, like all your main signed people, and you should have them do like the Combate move of the week, the Combate workout of the week, and the whole segment can be aired on your. Oh, you are? Okay, see your.
Yeah, you don't follow us on social media, do you?
I do, but I haven't. Maybe I've just been off social media trying to like not be plugged to the social media, looking at everything going on. So maybe, but no. See, like mine, dude. I'm just a step
Yes.
behind Mr. AFROMOWITZ. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. No. We're there's some good stuff that we're posting, and we're doing. Actually, we're gonna issue a challenge shortly, so stay tuned. We need you to participate. I want to see you. I want to see
Alright.
you, be a part of the challenge. So.
All right, cool. I haven't puked
Yeah.
on camera in a while. This should be good.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It's coming.
Hey, Mike, I can't let you go without asking you about, man, what's your whole take on John Jones? We were talking about him earlier.
Mm-hmm. I haven't really followed it. I saw he got arrested again. Is that what happened for DUI?
Again.
Yes, he did.
Just his own worst enemy.
And what was it? Negligent discharging of a firearm. So basically, he got drunk and probably shot his gun out the window. It was probably nothing serious, but still, it's like, man.
He's a bad guy, I mean, he's a bad guy.
He makes bad decisions. This is true.
Yeah, bad decisions. I mean,
I don't know if I would label Jones a bad guy, but just makes really bad decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just, you know what? Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Well, I mean, and that's your take, Cole. I just say the guy's a great fighter. He's just not too smart when it comes to
He's a great fighter.
When there's laws to be broken or accepted or responsibility. Whether you want to or not, you have a responsibility the minute you leave that door. Because if you want to say, hey, I'm not a role model, or I'm not responsible for these fans or these viewers or these followers, yes, you are. You can't just take the good and not take the rest with you. I don't want to say the bad, but you can't just take the rest with you. It is what it is. It's called the limelight. It's called fame. It's called being famous. And yeah, you're under the radar, man. That's just my take on it, Mike. But you know what? See, me and Cole, we go back and forth on this constantly. So Mike, what is that challenge that you're talking about?
I know. It's going to be the Combate. It's a push-up challenge, but it's not just just regular push-ups. You'll see it. I'll send it to you so you can take a look at it. If you remember,
it's a creative push-up idea.
Yeah, did you see Creed 2? No.
Yeah, I did.
I did. Remember when his son has Drago's son is doing the push-up with the ropes, and he goes into the air. He goes airborne. Okay, so it's like that. You don't need the ropes up. That's
not your everyday human being. That's a freaking strong athlete to be able to do that. Yeah, strong technique.
Yeah, you don't need to be out. You don't need to be like him to do that, but you can do the challenge without the ropes and not looking like him.
Well, Mike, you got to put your thinking cap on, man. You got to come up with a challenge for the fighter's voice, man, and start sending your fighters. Start sending them down here and say, hey, you know what, Rich, I got to get these guys on here, man.
100%. Whoever you want, whenever you want. I'm not going to send them anywhere right now, but we could send them to Zoom. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Oh yeah. No, we're not doing anything in-house right now.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Cole, we decided that. Actually, the last ones that we got in, who were the last ones we had in studio? Was it the Frosto sisters, Cole?
Yeah.
We didn't even have them in studio. We had them on the phone. Before that, it was, I think it was Jose. It might have been Jose. It might have been the last in studio, I think.
No, you know who it was? It was Mike Moreno. Wasn't it?
Yeah, Moreno was the last one. He was the last one. That was the last in-house studio interviews we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Fresno 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Mike, before I let you go, man, I did ask Broner about coming to Combate Americas, man. I did ask him. I was
he doesn't want to do it.
He said, I don't want to get kicked, man.
Yeah.
He's uncool. He was not. I'm not here to get kicked.
Yeah, no, he doesn't want it.
Yeah. So, hey, were you surprised at the outcome of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury?
I was actually. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. So good for Tyson Fury. I was surprised though. I didn't see it playing out like that.
Yeah, and actually, in this case, the weight worked to his advantage.
Yeah, no, he's the better fighter. he's got, you know, a lot of skill. So I just didn't see it playing out like that. But so, you know, good props to him because he did a good job.
Mike, I know you run MMA. I mean, you're heavily involved, but you are a big boxing fan. I mean,
Yeah.
once this clears up, what fight did you miss the most that was supposed to happen? I mean, that was scheduled to happen, and you had your sight on it. You had your expectations on watching that fight. Which one are you missing the most right now?
I can't name any one specific fight. You know, I was looking forward to seeing your guy Jose Ramirez get back in there. I'm looking forward to. I always like watching Gervonta Davis fight. Tank Davis. I like Danny Garcia. So
Swift.
yeah. So there's a lot. Really, any boxing, you know, with up and I like watching. So there's not one specific fight. You know, I love Showtime boxing. You know, I like ESPN.
Sounds more of just like combat sports as a whole.
Oh yeah, Mike's a fight fan, big time. Big time. Hey, I happened to run into, well, not run into, but last week, Hector.
Yeah.
Now you're coming in and out, Mike. Are you under a bridge or something?
Hello?
Yeah. We're right here.
No, I'm in my house. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No,
You ran into Hector?
No, I ran into Hector Camacho Jr. And yeah, he told me to tell you, hey, tell that dude I said hello, man. He was a nice guy, cool dude, man.
Yeah, he's good guy. So he's is he fighting? Or was he? Did he have a fight schedule?
Yeah, he had something scheduled. Actually, it was in Canada. He was trying to do something with a Christian Printup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. They kind of like a bare knuckle. I was
wow,
leaning to. Well, that's what he was kind of leaning towards.
Sure.
And they were kind of negotiating the money there.
Okay. Yeah. Tell him I said hello if you talk to him.
No, I sure will, man. Hey, you know what, Mike? I want to take this time and just thank you for coming on, being a good sport about it, and thank you for sharing me some of those personal. I don't want to say tragedies, but just concerns. And you know, we're going to keep them in prayer. And when I hear that, I'm just so blessed that I'm able to go to the grocery store right now and get what I need to get.
Yeah, I know. So again, thank you for having me on. It's good to be able to actually do something that I like doing and that you know, used to doing in the normal life. And so thanks.
Oh no, the pleasure's all ours. Cole, any last words, my man?
No, that's not the same, man. Just Mike, again, like I said, like Rich was saying, thanks for giving us your time today. I know it is kind of a change of pace for you and stuff, so it gives you a little something different to do, man. Mm-hmm. Stay safe and let us know when you guys share anything that you can start doing, and we'll look forward to that day.
Great. Yeah, we'll be in touch. Thanks, guys.
Hey, Mike, I'm a phone call away, an email away. Let me know if you ever want to bring a guest on that has a terrific story, or if he wants to conduct a challenge or anything, let us know, man. That's why we're here, man.
Likewise. Thanks, guys. Hey, Talk soon.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Hey, Cole, stay on for a second. Okay, Mike. Cole, man, check this out, man. I mean, we think we have it bad here in California, this Fresno area, the 559. After hearing that, man, what's your whole outlook on how we have it?
I don't think it's something that I do want to look at it and go, man, we are a lot more fortunate in that position, but people should look at that and realize that the only reason it's not that bad as a matter of because or yet is just the fact of New York's really big. Like there's millions of people living there. So for it to be that widespread, that bad, that fast, I can understand that because of the condensed numbers in the condensed real estate area. Like there's just so many people crammed in like that. But they should look at it and realize that it could be a lot worse. The fact that we can actually go outside on my front porch or on my driveway or whatever and stand out in the sun is, you know, it's a blessing, so to speak. And it's a fortunate privilege to enjoy. Whereas, like, you know, Mike was telling us they've been stuck inside for the last 2 weeks, like not able to go outside because there's just so many people and the air is so congested that I don't know, man. I think it could be a lot worse, and people need to look at that and realize that it can be worse. And if certain steps and measures aren't taken, it will be that way everywhere before it gets better. So this whole separation, isolation thing should be taken as a positive and embraced, because if we don't just do it, it will get worse before it gets better. It has to get a little worse, but the sooner we all just kind of like follow with the plan, it'll get a little worse, but then it will get better faster versus us dragging our feet about it and it taking even longer to get better. It's like prolonging going to the doctor with something that you know you need stitches for. You know you need stitches, go to the doctor, get stitches. But if it's something where you're just like, oh no, it's okay, I'll just bandage it up, I'll butterfly and stuff. Next thing you know, it's way worse. You end up have to have like some stupid surgery for it because you prolong going and getting stitches. Same concept here. We just got to buckle down, follow the program for a little bit. Don't be scared. Don't be paranoid. Don't be worried. Just trust the process of what steps are necessary in order to get us going back in the right direction. And some of those steps might seem scary, but here's the thing: is you get people going, "Oh, so and so got fined for this gathering. They got fined for this gathering." Every step they're taking, as far as fining us and enforcing stay-at-home rules and this shit, like, dude, it's literally them trying to do every single thing they can exhaust before they got to put their foot down and go, "Fuck it, martial law." Like, because if they don't, it'll just keep going. Like I said, entitlement, it'll keep going because people don't want to accept the fact that, dude, look, it's just got to be this way for a little bit in order for us to get past it. And yeah, I know there's theories of what's really going on and all this crap, and everyone's entitled to it. I get it. It's a scary, weird, confusing time because there's not enough correct information floating around because there is no knowledge to be given out. So until that happens, people are just going to come to their own conclusions, but just get with the program, ease into it, realize it's going to be a minute, and just, it will get better. But it can't get better if we all don't kind of wrap our heads around the same page.
You know, I agree with you, man. We have it pretty good over here, man, because the last thing I want is for someone to take away our freedom. And that's not what I'm looking forward to at all. And I do believe that it is going to get better. Some people have it a little tougher than we do. So I do count my blessings, our blessings as a whole. You know what, Cole, man, I appreciate you taking time, man. And, you know, as always, man, we make this happen, man. I mean, you know, this show is nothing without everybody that is a piece of the puzzle. I'm talking about yourself, KP, Mike, and, you know, even behind the scenes, Sophia doing the paperwork, and just us. And just, you know what, I can't say this enough, with KP, just continue to make this happen. I mean, he took Zoom to a whole new freaking level. Even Mike was saying, okay, so what kind of platform do you have? How are you doing this? And he's going to be surprised because he thinks that it's coming on the way it is, that the way we're looking at each other in these boxes. But no, I'm going to send him that link. And by the way, send me that link
with
to
all the
that
graphics
movie,
and everything.
Yeah, send me that link to that bad movie, man. I want to check it out now.
Well, that crap? No, I bought it on Amazon.
Oh,
on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well,
Hey,
and they're going to start. That's going to happen soon too. You're going to start finding movies online because nobody can go to the movie theaters.
Yeah,
that's what I did. I bought it from Amazon. It was a waste of $20.
Oh, yeah, well, damn, they got you on that one. They sure did, man.
Yeah, dude, Amazon got me for $20 on that one. Good on you, Amazon. Good on you. Whatever.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and all those that have been subscribing. We have some subscribers, man. This stuff's starting to take off. And thank you once again who's been subscribing to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. That's www.youtube.com/thefightersvoice. Every fighter has a voice, and so do you. It's a wrap. As always, thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye.